Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us during our last evening of Florida Shines Virtual College Week. My name is Nashla Daware. I will be facilitating today's session, which is all about dual enrollment. Now, before I begin, I want to go over a few items with you. If you have questions, please put them in the chat section, and we will address them during the live Q&A or in a follow-up email. Closed captioning is provided for this session, and you can click on the link in the chat box to access that as well. This session will be recorded. The recording, along with all the materials shared today, will be posted on our website, floridashines.org. And finally, we are live on Twitter, so feel free to share your comments and connect with us at FL Shines. Now, I also want to share a couple of things that are new this year. First, we are giving away swag bags from our colleges and universities here in Florida to some of our attendees, so stay tuned at the end for instructions on that. And after this session, you will receive a follow-up email with information about applying for a $1,000 scholarship. That scholarship is being awarded by the Florida Association of Educational Data Systems, so we want to thank them for their sponsorship, and we definitely want to encourage you to apply if you're attending today. Now, I'd like to introduce our speaker, Tulani Honablu. Tulani has been in education for over 15 years. She has served as an ESE teacher, reading coach, and assistant principal. Currently, she is the high school dual enrollment coordinator at Tallahassee Community College, and in this position, she coordinates registration, she helps students with academic and career planning, and she helps dual enrolled students, high school students in Leon, Gadsden, and Wakulla counties with matriculating from high school to Tallahassee Community College. Now, in addition to all of these responsibilities as a coordinator, she is also a proud U.S. Army veteran and serves in several committees that have special interest in student veterans at TCC as well. So, Tulani, what a wealth of knowledge. We're honored to have you today. Thank you for being with us.
Oh, absolutely. You're welcome, and thank you so much for having me. And it's definitely a privilege to be here so that I can speak to our students and families of Florida about dual enrollment. So we will go ahead and get started. Okay, what is dual enrollment? Dual enrollment is an opportunity for post-secondary students to complete courses that are creditable towards the high school completion, as well as career certificate or an associate or baccalaureate degree. Some of the benefits of participating in the dual enrollment program is that students in dual enrollment, research shows that they have higher high school graduation rates, college enrollment, college persistence, and college grades. Other benefits of dual enrollment for students, it definitely reduces the time to completion for a post-secondary degree, provides an opportunity for experience in college environment and courses. Some of the differences for dual enrolled students that they have to quickly learn is the difference between things that they have to deal with in high school, where someone is registering them for courses on a regular basis, versus in college, they have to register themselves for courses. So that's definitely something that I have noticed to be a great benefit for students who participate in dual enrollment. Also, students have an improved understanding of what is required to succeed in college. No longer are they able to just kind of, I'll study later. They understand that it definitely takes a lot of organization. It takes communication with the professors, and definitely being involved on campus as far as group studies and things to kind of get involved in what's going on campus. So it takes a lot of focus and determination when you're participating in dual enrollment. And also, students have access to diverse and rigorous academic courses. College courses definitely are a little bit more rigorous than what students are used to in high school, and so it definitely challenges those who want to go on to college so they have that experience, and it helps open that door for them to understand exactly what it takes to be successful in college. And also advanced coursework that's not offered in high schools. We do know that this is an amazing opportunity for students and families who may live in rural areas who their schools may or may not be able to offer advanced coursework, and through dual enrollment program, they are able to participate in these advanced courses. Now, what are some things that parents and students should be aware of as they pursue dual enrollment? There is a grade point average. You guys. There's a GPA requirement. Students must have an unweighted high school GPA of a 3.0. And typically, students and parents will see this as the state GPA that's on the high school transcript. And students must also qualify using assessment exams, i.e. the PERT, which is the post-secondary education readiness test, the ACT, and or the SAT. Now, from my experience, students are able to use a combination of the scores if necessary. And students are also, the courses that students complete through dual enrollment, they do become a part of the student's permanent college record. So I always make sure that parents and students understand this because there is some understanding that if they take these courses while in high school, that these classes kind of may not apply as they move forward. And they definitely apply, and they have actually started their college record at that time. So that is something that parents and students definitely should be aware of. Okay, now the course availability, like I stated before, dual enrollment does offer an opportunity for students to have access to advanced coursework that may not be available to them. And so the courses that students are able to complete in dual enrollment is the post-secondary coursework that is applicable to the high school graduation requirements, as well as a career certificate and the associate's degree or the bachelor's degree. Some students don't realize that they can participate in career opportunities, and they definitely can do that. There are many career opportunities that are available to students in the state of Florida that students, I don't believe, a lot of times are aware of. The associate's degree, there are many AS programs that are available throughout the state of Florida, and obviously a lot of students that I see, that I interact with, they all want to go on to the bachelor's degree, which is a great deal, and it's an amazing accomplishment, but they also can consider those other options, especially if there's opportunity to receive more than one. They can get an associate's degree and a bachelor's degree if possible, so there are ways to work it. Okay, dual enrollment and the high school GPA. Dual enrolled courses will receive the same type of weight as towards the high school grade point average as an AP course may. The IB courses that students may take in their IB programs, as well as ACE courses. And basically what happens is these courses are weighted the same as an honors course may be weighted at a high school. So they do receive a little bit extra in the high school GPA when they do take the dual enrolled courses. Okay, and then this is a big one. Obviously, again, some courses students do not have access to for whatever reason, but then there are courses that students are not able to take through dual enrollment. And a lot of those courses will include your pre-collegiate or college prep type courses, courses that require physical education, and courses that do not, they're more physical rather than intellectual in nature. So, for example, a student cannot take a PE class at the college level through dual enrollment. Non-credit courses cannot be taken through dual enrollment. So, for example, if a student wants to go into a program and there's a non-credit course or a developmental education course that they want to take or they need to take, they may not take those courses through dual enrollment. So it's always a good idea to meet with or talk to someone about dual enrollment who's in your local servicing area. Okay, and this obviously is a big one. Will the coursework transfer? And yes, the coursework that is taken through dual enrollment, they will transfer to any Florida public university or college that offers the same statewide course numbering system offered through the dual enrollment program. and these classes must be taken by the receiving institution. However, the difference is when a student is going on to a university with their dual enrolled courses, if they do not complete the AA degree, then the receiving institution may pick and choose where those credits will apply. So, for example, I know there's a university in the state of Florida who may apply the ENC 1102 as a creative writing course versus an English or communications course. So those little things there, parents and students will need to be aware of because that will matter as you move forward through dual enrollment and as you move forward into the universities. Also, another thing to consider as you move forward from dual enrollment is private colleges. Private colleges do not adhere to the same numbering system as public colleges or universities do. So with that being said, the private colleges, you definitely want to check with them if that is a goal of the student or the parent. They want to check with them to make sure that they will receive the courses that were taken through dual enrollment. And certainly, same is true for out-of-state universities and colleges. Again, they are not required to adhere to the same standards as the Florida public colleges and universities are. Okay, and this is a positive note, and I'm definitely proud to be associated with the dual enrollment program here in the state of Florida. Just so you all know, Florida does lead the way in dual enrollment, and I have a rather large dual enrollment program here at TCC. 52% of dual enrolled students do enroll at the community college level for dual enrollment as compared to our national friends at 47%. And 64% of the formal dual enrolled students, they do go on to earn a bachelor's degree and ultimately the advanced degrees as well, as compared to our 46% national average. So I'm definitely proud to be associated with the dual enrollment program here. The colleges, the high schools are very active in pursuing dual enrollment, and that clearly is shown in our numbers here. Okay, I think that takes us to our questions.
Yes, thank you so much, Tawani. Just a great way to understand all of the common questions around dual enrollment. We do have a couple questions, and I also want to invite our audience, if you have questions related to this topic, you can send them in now. Tawani, in terms of cost, I think you mentioned some of this, but is dual enrollment for students typically 100% free if they are a public school student?
Yes, for public school students, it is 100% free. There is no cost to students and parents or tuition and books.
All right, so you were talking a little bit about transferability and completion. For students who have really high ambition and want to complete their high school graduation along with getting their AA degree, when do you recommend they get started? If they're currently a freshman in high school, when do you recommend they get started?
Freshman year is a good year. I typically, last spring, we had 10 students who graduated with the AA degree here in our servicing area. And for those students and those that I saw previously, the previous spring semester, most of them started around the 10th grade year. So it's fairly easy to do. If they can start in the 10th grade year, the freshman year is not a bad year to start, but typically the freshman year, that's a big year anyway. So the ones that I've seen do it successfully have started in the 10th grade, and they take dual enrolled courses every single semester, the fall, the spring, as well as the summer. And so based on the student's high school unweighted GPA, students are able to take anywhere from 11 credit hours up to 15 credit hours. But again, that is determined by the student's unweighted high school GPA, which would need to be verified by the high school guidance counselor. And once that is verified, the student will be able to take, so those who can take more classes as they get become a junior and a senior, they are definitely able to complete about 12 to 15 credit hours a semester, which they handle it fairly well around that time.
All right, Talani, and then thinking about, you mentioned high school courses and college courses. Can you talk a little bit about expectations and what students need to prepare for in terms of the difference between a high school class and schedule versus a college course and a workload there?
Oh, absolutely. One of the major differences is getting used to being more proactive on the college end. A lot of students who participate in dual enrollment that I've seen, they're usually kind of caught off guard by the level of participation that they have to have, the level of communication that they have to have, versus a high school environment and K-12 experience where they're typically used to their schedules being handed to them. They're typically used to being able to have space and time in the school year or prior to the school year to go out to the high schools to meet with their teachers, to see who's in their class. That's very different at the college level. The students are very much more active and involved in selecting their courses based on what they need for high school graduation. And then the course syllabus. That has been a huge difference for some students. Again, they're used to someone telling them what's going on and what to expect, which is a great thing, and the same happens here at college. But as far as when an assignment is due, what to do when you may miss a class, those things are outlined in the course syllabus. And so typically high school dual enrolled students need time to, where they kind of get surprised that they have to adjust to something that's being written. And one of the things that I hear a lot from students is, I wasn't expecting, or I didn't know that. I didn't know that I had to look at the course syllabus as much. And so that's oftentimes been a transition for the dual enrolled students. Now they are responsible for really looking at this course syllabus because it tells you what happens if you miss a class on a day that an exam may take place. What are the parameters if a teacher or a professor is able to withdraw you, or what do you do in the event that you need to be withdrawn, or things like that. So it requires the student to be much more engaged in what is going on before classes happen. What do I need to know coming in? What do I need to know through this course? And how do I need to move forward as the class is preparing to end? So it's a lot of forethought that has to be done, that has to take place for students to really be successful in dual enrollment, because it does require that they be more proactive and serve as a liaison, honestly, between them, the college that they attend, their parents, and as well as the high school.
Absolutely. Definitely much higher expectations. Talani, another question to reiterate, you mentioned it earlier, students can do dual enrollment classes over the summer. Is that correct?
That is very true. And I know here at TCC, students are only able to participate in our June Express session, which typically happens towards the end of June, and it goes over into the beginning of August. So I would encourage parents and students to find out in their servicing area what the rules are when it comes to summer enrollment, but it is available.
Okay. Well, and not just for the summer, Talani, but another question relates to support. Are there advisors at the community college that can help students with this dual enrollment just to make sure they're taking the right classes, or where would a student get started or get support there?
Oh, amazing question. Advising, we encourage it. We strongly support it. And, yes, advisors are available. I personally was just out at a high school a couple of days ago for advising purposes, and we do have academic advisors here on campus that are available, that are able to assist students to determine the classes that they're taking, how they apply towards the AA degree, for example, if that's the student's goal. Now, that does not take away from the fact that the student will still need to meet with their high school guidance counselor to ensure that they are meeting their graduation requirements for high school. And so that is where the teamwork definitely has to be consistent, because it is the high school guidance counselor's responsibility to ensure that the student is meeting their high school graduation requirements for high school. But we are definitely available. We encourage students to come see us to make sure that the classes they're taking through dual enrollment, how they're applying towards the AA degree, and even to help them, should they know what they want to major in, we can also guide them in the right direction when it comes to the appropriate math classes that they need to take if they want to go into nursing, the appropriate science classes that they need to take. And even if they don't know what they want to major in, I get that one a lot, and understandably so. Most students don't know what they want to major in at that time, and so that's extremely important that they meet with us during that time if they don't know, because we can advise them to take gateway, what we call gateway courses, that will help them go up to a higher degree should they decide later on that they want to go into engineering, or if the same courses will also help them if they want to go into education. So it's very important that students meet with advisors on the college end if they know what they want to major in, and especially if they do not know what they want to major in, so that we can guide them in the right direction and that it will help them in the long run.
Absolutely, Tawani, and I think it's great that you reiterated that it's okay if you've not chosen a major. You can still be on the right track, taking the right courses to at least prepare for a potential pathway. So that's great to hear. Tawani, in terms of location of where students go, I know you're at TCC or FSU. Do they offer dual enrollment courses that you know of at the local high school campuses, or would a student have to prepare to go to the college campus to attend?
Oh, great question. Oh, my goodness. Classes are available on certain high school campuses. I know right now we're working with the county here to ensure that as many high schools have courses available on the high school campus. So, yes, classes are available on the high school campus, and students may also participate in dual enroll courses online, should that be a better option for them, as opposed to coming on campus. But coming on campus is definitely an option, but students may take classes through dual enrollment on their high school campus if it's available.
Okay, so good to know there's options there. In terms of eligibility, Tawani we're getting lots of really good questions through our audience. So you mentioned that the grade is, the GPA is weighted to the same as AP or IB, but AP and IB are weighted differently usually in high school. Can you explain the difference in terms of GPA calculations for some of those honor programs and how those are calculated?
Well, that's out of my scope of expertise, because the high schools typically deal with the GPAs on the student side. However, what I do know is that the dual enroll courses are weighted the same as an AP course would be weighted. So, and from my understanding, honors classes, AP courses, dual enroll courses are weighted on like a 5-point scale versus the typical 4-point scale. So a student who earns a C or a B in a dual enroll course, they would receive, let's say they earn a B, then they would receive the 4 points versus 3 points on the typical 4.0 scale. So they are weighted. They do have a lot more weight, the same weight as an honors program, as an IB program, or as an AP course taken through those programs. So the dual enroll courses would definitely help in the same way. So there's no difference, and they help a lot when it goes to the student's high school GPA.
Absolutely, and Tawani, you made a really important point that segues into a couple other questions we're getting regarding dual enrollment classes offered at a high school, counting the same as the ones taking at a college, and in general, dual enrollment classes starting their college academic record. So can you talk a little bit about that and how dual enrollment classes basically start their college career in GPA?
Sure. The classes that students take through dual enrollment, let's say they start out with taking ENC 1101. Granted, that class will count towards their high school English graduation requirements that they have to have, and that will be added to what they have had at the high school and through their high school career, their K-12 career. But the college level is now started your college transcript, and so once a student starts taking those classes, that class and any class they take through dual enrollment, whether it's at the high school, online, or on the college campus, that course will still have the same weight on the college side as any other college class that a student may take. So the students will have the GPA. Typically, college GPAs are not weighted. It's a raw GPA. So if a student earns that same B in a class in a scenario I just spoke of, then it's a B, and so the student will receive a 3.0 or 3 points for that particular grade in the college level. And so I have seen in times past where students took dual enroll classes like 14, 15 years ago, and they came back to TCC, and that those college classes were still there, and he thought maybe that the classes would not apply because they did take place in high school, but the classes the student takes through dual enrollment, they start your college transcript ASAP, and they still have to, those classes apply towards your financial aid status, if you want to go into the honors program. Everything that you do in dual enrollment will have started in your college career once that GPA and once your transcript is established with that dual enroll course.
So very important to remember, and then to reiterate, then it's really important that students plan ahead so they're not overwhelming themselves with a heavy schedule, and they can do well in those courses. So really good to remember. Talani, for students who are thinking about completing their AA, if they're close to getting their AA through dual enrollment, does it make a difference if they earn their AA through dual enrollment, or if they go to the college, graduate from high school, and then go to the college to get their AA? Does it make a difference at all for those credentials?
That is an amazing question. And from my experience, we did have a situation very similar to that here maybe last spring because a student was concerned that she would lose scholarship opportunities because she completed the AA degree. And thankfully, it was Florida State. Thankfully, they worked with the student, and they were gracious enough to work with the student and to decide if the student had completed the AA degree, would it be better for them to come over as a transfer student or a first-time in college student. And so if a student completes the AA degree while in high school or prior to their high school graduation, they are still by law considered a first-time in college student when they move forward. And so inside the state of Florida, I have seen the situation benefit the students based on the receiving institution. And so I would encourage parents and students to talk to the receiving institution as far as scholarship opportunities that they may have applied for. Definitely need to be aware of what those scholarship opportunities require, because some scholarship opportunities require that you come in as a freshman with nothing. And so those things are important to consider. And that was a wonderful question because I've also seen where a student who's gone out of state, we had to try to work with them to remove some things because that's the state college that they went to out of state would not receive it. So the parents definitely and students need to be aware of any scholarship opportunities that they've applied to, what those requirements are, how they will view those dual enrollment courses, how they will view the completion of the AA degree versus not completing the AA degree. And so that's not to say that you cannot complete the 60 hours or the requirements associated with the AA degree. It's just simply applying for graduation and having it posted to your transcript. So there are a number of scenarios, and I have seen where most universities, public universities here in the state of Florida, have worked with the students and the parents, and it has benefited them. So I can't really give a blanket statement on that one because it definitely depends on the receiving institution. But from my experience and the situations I've walked through with parents and students, it has benefited them.
So that's great expertise, and like you said, always remember to check with their dual enrollment counselor or their counselor just to get the best recommendation for their situation. Talani, the next couple questions are about timing and sort of timeline in general, so it's a multi-part question. Age,
Okay.
is there an age limit for students? At what age can they begin attending or taking dual enrollment courses? And then for the academic year, you talked about being aware of deadlines. Is there a cutoff or a date that they need to be looking at during the school year to enroll and apply for dual enrollment classes?
Okay, great questions. Awesome questions. Okay, now, by law, dual enroll course, students may participate in dual enrollment as early as the 6th grade. And I wish I could hear the reactions of people that's listening right now, because typically I get, the big gasp of air. That's very young. Right now I have no students who are in the 6th grade or the 7th grade, and typically you'll see that in homeschool populations. But public schools do a very good job of vetting and making sure students meet the requirements for dual enrollment. So typically in a public high school setting, you will see students participate in dual enrollment who are as young as the 9th grade, because, again, I'll go back to the requirements for dual enrollment. Students have to have a 3.0 unweighted high school GPA. And so I've never seen a student in the 6th, 7th, or sometimes 8th grade with a 3.0 high school GPA. We do have some, but the public schools, like I said, have done a really good job of making sure those students get over into high school. So typically I see 9th grade, and again, those who still want to work on the AA degree. 10th grade is when they will start seriously pursuing more classes. So gradually the students will begin to take more classes, but that is what the statute states. I definitely would not recommend it. And again, there's still the other requirements that students will have to meet, even though they may participate that early. And as far as deadlines or cutoff dates that parents and students need to be aware of, I know for my program we do have semesterly deadlines that students and parents have to be aware of, and the high schools have to be aware of every single semester. So typically, and then I have my dual enrollment deadline date, and then the high schools, some high school sites have a deadline date that's a little bit before mine, so that they can turn in paperwork on time. If we have any issues, we have time to fix them and get everything together by that time. So, yes, there are deadlines that parents and students must be aware of. There are requirements on the different high school sites that students and parents need to be aware of. So, again, whereas the statute or TCC may say my deadline is August the 10th, if the high school says our deadline is August the 1st, the parents and the students need to adhere to whatever the high school has as their deadline, because, again, everyone is trying to meet a deadline. So I would always encourage parents and students to understand and know what your high school is expecting from you, and when it comes to deadlines, any paperwork they may need from you turned in by their deadline, definitely make sure you get that done, and be aware of testing dates. A lot of high school sites will test their students in the spring who want to participate in dual enrollment for the fall. So we got the spring semester coming up. Parents and students who are attending public schools, if they want to participate in dual enrollment for next fall, for fall 2019, I would encourage them to start now to find out when the schools are given the PERT assessment. Find out now and register for ACT and SAT sessions that they may want to participate in. I always make that recommendation to take tests or assessments as early as possible. That way, if the student needs to retest in a particular area, they'll have that time so that they will not miss a high school or a college's deadline.
So that's good to know, Tawani. Lots of deadlines and pieces to stay informed with. And like you mentioned, always good to seek the support from parents and others to help you keep track of that. I am still thinking about what you said, middle school. That's middle school.
Yes.
Very, very early. So
very.
Great. Okay. All right. Well, Tawani, thank you so much. I think the other couple of questions that we've gotten are in regards to the webinar here itself, and so I just want to tell our audience that by attending today, you have been entered to win one of our swag bags, again, from our colleges and universities here in Florida. So we are going to be drawing winners at the end of the night tonight, and we're going to post them on social media tomorrow. So if you want to follow us, we are at FL Shines on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and let us announce the winners tomorrow, and you'll see if you won. So good luck. In addition to that, on Monday, you should receive an email if you attended today with information about the $1,000 scholarship that's being awarded as part of attending this webinar. So be on the lookout for that email as well, and we encourage you to apply. Tawani, on behalf of the Florida Shines team here, I just want to thank you for all your expertise in answering all of our questions tonight. It was a huge help for us to learn more about dual enrollment, and I know for our audience as well. So thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. My pleasure. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. So this concludes our webinar for the evening. If you have any additional questions, please let us know. But thank you for joining us.